Hi guys, my name is Laurabai, or Maddie. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm reading chapter 33 of #Murder Trending by Gretchen McNeil. Let's get right into it. Griselda seized Mariah by the shoulders. Where did you see him last? We found the cafeteria, Mariah said, her voice shaky, but the ID badge wouldn't open the kitchen door, so he was going to try and find another way in. I waited, but he never came back. Show me. They raced out of the activities room, down a short hallway, and finally emerged into the cafeteria. It looked remarkably like the one in Dee's high school. Cavernous ceilings and lively acoustics, but with a dozen round tables flanked by plastic chairs. An enormous video screen was embedded in the wall at one end, still showing the rescue of Niles and Griselda, the acoustics of the battle in the shining hallway, pinging throughout the room. And at the back there was a cafeteria-style window, closed and locked, with metal blinds where the food was served. Somewhere on the other side was Ethan. "Ethan?" Griselda cried. "Where are you?" As if in answer, the sickening double doorbell sound effect pinged through the cafeteria. Ding dong, ding dong. "No," Dee breathed. "Please, no." They all turned towards the TV screen, and there in the middle of the shot was Ethan. He was in a room made of glass, floor to ceiling, windows on all sides, pinning him in like it was a prison cell. But he wasn't tied up or restrained in any way, and instead of standing calmly in the middle of the room, he pounded on the glass, trying to break free. "You won't take me without a fight, asshole," Ethan yelled. Then he punched the glass with his bare fist. It gave slightly but didn't break. "Can anyone hear where it's coming from?" Dee asked desperately. They stood still, ear straining to catch the reverberations of Ethan's pounding fists coming from somewhere outside the cafeteria. But it was impossible to hear anything other than what came through the speakers. "We have to find him." Griselda ran headlong at the locked cafeteria window, leaping up on the counter with such grace of an Olympic hurdler. She pulled at the metal blinds, hopelessly trying to break the lock that held them in place. Mariah climbed up to help. "God damn it!" Griselda screamed in frustration. "Why did we leave the axe at the shop?" Meanwhile, Niles and Dee tried the doors. The one on the far wall opened easily, and sunlight beamed into the cafeteria. Beyond, Dee could see the main courtyard of the guard station. "He couldn't have gone outside," Dee said, letting it close. "Agreed." There was only one other option, the door beside the cafeteria window. Niles rammed his shoulder against the metal exterior, but it didn't budge. "Guys!" Ethan's voice. It almost sounded as if it was coming from inside the cafeteria instead of through the speakers, and Niles, Dee, Griselda, and Mariah all stopped and stared at the video. "This is it for me," Ethan said, staring at the camera. His face was strangely calm. "Gris," he smiled. "You know I know." Griselda pressed her lips together so hard they practically disappeared, and the bulging muscles in her jaw belied the fierce clenching beneath. She must have felt more for Ethan than Dee realized. than Dee had realized. "Stay alive for me, okay? You have to tell the world about..." Ethan's voice trailed off as a figure moved into the frame. He was in shadow, but he carried an old-fashioned megaphone, like the kind they used back in black and white movies, which could only mean one thing. "Cecile B. D. Violent," Griselda said. "That son of a bitch." Cecile held the megaphone up to his mouth, turning to the side so that way the camera caught his full silhouette. "Lights!" Immediately, dozens of open-faced tungsten lights ignited, flooding the darkness around the glass room with a warm glow. With the lights on, Dee could see that the set was some kind of office. There were several desks, off-white metal with a row of drawers alongside and computer monitors on top, flanked by wheeled chairs, and half a dozen large pieces of furniture, filing cabinets, printer stations, massive outdated computer servers. Definitely an office environment, but not the least bit modern. Even the desktop computers looked like the old Apples she'd seen in a technology museum. Big and heavy with black screens and unwieldy keyboards. And to make the whole thing even weirder, the office was decorated for Christmas. Each desk had a tiny fake Christmas tree, complete with lights, and garlands had been strung along the wall behind the glass cell. Cecile held up the megaphone again. Actors to their places. He disappeared out of frame. When he returned, he carried a mannequin. With his back to the camera, Cecile lugged the human-sized doll across the set, arranged it on the floor beside one of the desks. It was dressed in black pants and a black button-down shirt, open to the sternum, or what would have been the sternum if it weren't made of plastic. It had what looked like a toy machine slung around one arm, and on its head a long blonde wig. Somewhere in the depths of Dee's brain, a memory stirred. This scene was familiar, something she'd seen before, but what was it? Once satisfied with the placement of the dummy, Cecile moved across the room and crouched behind one of the servers. Finally, in the light, Dee saw that he was dressed for the location. He wore a dark business suit, light blue shirt, burgundy tie, a full beard, probably fake, shrouded his face, along with a large pair of sunglasses. By his side was a handgun. Ethan stopped pounding on the glass and watched intently as Cecile set the scene. Slowly, a smile spread across Ethan's face. "Oh my fucking god. Are you serious here? Die Hard? This is awesome." Only Ethan would be... Oh my... I didn't even plan that. I promise. Only Ethan would be excited that his imminent death would mimic a scene from his favorite movie. But I need a machine gun, Cecile, he said, immediately serious. John McClane has one, remember? You're not following the script. Cecile paused as if thinking, was he really going to give Ethan a machine gun, a working one? That would give him a chance. Dee's heart raced. All Ethan needed was a chance. But Dee's momentary hope was immediately dashed. Cecile shook his head, and then cupped his hand to his face. Roll film and action. Dude, you suck, Ethan said, but Cecile wasn't listening. He turned to the blonde dummy. Carl, he said. Something I'm not even gonna try pronouncing because it is in another language. So I'm gonna spell it for you. Schiess. Next word. AUF. Next word. DAS. Next word. Capital FENSTER. Cut, Ethan yelled, his face more irate than fearful. Hey, douche. Haynes says, again in another language, capital S CHIESS, new word, DEM, new word, capital FENTSTER. Did you even watch the movie? Cecile's shoulders drooped, his head tilted to the side in irritation. He stared at Ethan for a moment, as if he was going to argue the point, then muttered, "Fine." Seriously, Ethan said, folding his arms across his chest, I expected a little bit more professionalism from you. Cecile took a long, deep breath, then through pursed lips, then let it out with a slow hiss, resetting, and action. He snapped back into character and began the scene over. Carl. Exactly how it's spelled when Ethan says it. Ethan nodded appreciatively. Thank you. Carl the dummy didn't respond, so Cecile, aka Hans, clarified his statement. Shoot the glass. Ethan braced himself. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker! A wall of gunfire erupted. The glass room in which Ethan was imprisoned seemed to explode from impact, glass and bullets flying from all directions. Ethan didn't even flinch. He stood firm in the middle of the room, while his body was simultaneously riddled with bullets and impaled by thousands of razor-sharp shards of glass. As suddenly as it began, the gunfire stopped. Ethan, bloodied almost beyond recognition, a smile still plastered across his face, collapsed to the floor. Oh my god. I mean, at least he went out with one of his favorite, one of his scene from, his favorite movie. that he quotes literally throughout the entire book up to this point. Anyway, on to the comments. Excuse me. On to the comments. Ahmed Solari, and then the description is train wreck. Look, commented, look, I love a good John McClane riff as much as the next guy, especially if the next guy is the Vic. But where did that come from? All hell's breaking loose over on the camera feed threads because apparently the hashtag DRBC hasn't been seen since they headed up the hill towards the guard station. Almost all of the lead feeds are dead, and now this happens. Where was Ethan when he got captured? Where is the rest of the hashtag DRBC? Squirrel girl, squirrel woman, description, I'm nobody's girl, commented, yeah, and what about that message that Ethan sent out before he was killed? They have to tell the world about what? Was that code or something? Hashtag so confused. Skullcrusher Chic. Chaos is a ladder. Commented, technically Cecile's his other language sentence is correct, I believe. So aside from the fact that Haynes is speaking horrific German, why is it that Carl, his countryman, doesn't understand what he means until he says it in English? And then the Griff, wide awake, eyes open, comments, have to tell the world about the conspiracy. It's all coming together. This Death Row Breakfast Club uncovered a dark secret about Alcatraz 2.0 that the postman does not want anyone to know about. That's why all the cameras are dark. GWS Shake Off the Haters commented, I think the postman has lost control of the island. Did you see the press release from the DOJ this morning? Sounded like they were purposely attempting to distance themselves from the postman and Alcatraz 2.0, admitting that they have no oversight of the island prison. Quite a change of tune since they've been taking credit for the prison's high ratings since the beginning. Chol K. Gromold. That is an entirely different language, and I butchered it so hard, I'm not even going to try that person's description. Personally, I think this is all a part of the game. The postman is upping the ante. I bet the rest of the inmates are all in quarantine or on lockdown or house arrest until he's done dealing with these assholes. He let them think they were going to win by faking the Hardy girls' deaths, and now he's going to pick them off one by one. Brilliant. Neher Osman? Again, I'm probably butchering these names so hard, so I apologize. Class struggler. And how did the postman fake that Hardy girl's broken neck? The redhead clocked her something fierce with that extinguisher. For your theory to work, she'd have to be really weak or in on the thing. Randy LaHaye, again, butchering stuff. I apologize. Assistant trailer park supervisor. A traitorous inmate secretly planted there by the postman? Now that would be would be the greatest ratings coup ever. Hey, postman, are you listening? And that is the ending of chapter 33. I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.